Let's pray in together. I invite you to close your eyes if that's comfortable for you, or put a soft gaze on something. Right now, I could be looking out my window and put a soft gaze on all that snow out there. So just taking a moment to breathe in, hold it for a moment, and let it go. Allowing ourselves to fully relax and release ourselves into the present moment, into the now, into right now, and finding gratitude for right now. We woke up today. It's a beautiful scenery out there today. God is fully expressing through us right here, right now, today. And for that, we are grateful. We call this service in advance great, wonderful, magnificent, everything that we need it to be, because all that we need is always readily available to us. And for that, we are grateful and we say, Amen. And I'll turn it over to Maria.
Thank you, Wally. Good morning and welcome home in your home to Unity in Greensboro. We have the opportunity today to look out at the beautiful winter wonderland or take a look at our loved one at home or one of our uh, fur babies at home or just send it out into the ethers. And also, since we're all watching virtually this morning, I'm going to ask you to type it into the comments. Ready? Here we go. Good morning. Repeat after me, by the way. Good morning. I love you this morning, and I sure do appreciate you being here. And again, since we're all watching virtually, I'm going to invite you to take a moment to um, subscribe to all of our social media platforms, like, comment, share. Go ahead and get your friends and family on our service today, joining in because everyone is very likely at home today. Now, last week I know we couldn't get the affirmations up, but is Chris going to get the affirmations up on the screen today so that we can all read them together? Awesome. Okay. The affirmations for February, please read with me together. Love is the foundation of my existence. I love you. I love me. I love all life. And then next, we're going to do the vision, mission statement, and the core values. So, again, together, we envision a spiritually awakened world where all people live in joyful gratitude. Unity in Greensboro is a beacon of light for all those seeking a positive path for spiritual living through prayer and meditation, education, celebration, and service. Our Unity's core values are spiritual growth, generosity, inclusivity, authenticity, wholeness, and unity. And we're going to have our call to worship song today is not going to be Anita Shaver because she has fur babies who like to join in the chorus, and it's not all that pleasant for those of us on the receiving end. So we're going to have Wally do our call to worship today.
I am going to do it, and I recognize that I'm going to be the only voice you hear. And for whatever reason, my computer doesn't want to play the music part for you to hear it. I will hear it. It'll keep me on track. So it's going to sound a cappella to you. But please, the words are going to be up on the screen. Chris, you can go ahead and get those up. They don't need to see me. They know what I look like. And so I'm going to invite you to sing out loud, fully out loud, and just let it roll through you. All right, you ready? Let's do this together. It's Love is My Decision, Daniel Nahmod's song. Love is my decision. It's up to me to give of my heart. Love is my decision. No one else can tell me to start. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Love is my decision. It's up to me to stand on that bridge. Love is my decision. No one else can make me forgive. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. There's a slight music break here. Here we go. Ready? Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love is my decision. No one else can lighten my load. And once I decide to change my mind, God will show me how. Love is my decision right here and now. Let's do it again. Love is my decision. It's up to me to dance down the road. Love decision. No one else can lighten my load. Side to side to change my mind. God will show me. Love is my decision right here and now. My decision right here and now. All right, so now is the time that if we were in person, we would pass the piece and go around and just hug everybody and or nod at them if we didn't want to touch them because of the time. But right now, let's still just send that blessing out to each other and pass that peace. We wish peace on everyone that is joining us now or watching the recording later, or just people who don't even know that we exist. We're sending the love to them anyway because that's what we do. And then we want to bless the youth. So just because we're not sending somebody to another room, we want to bless the youth that is absolutely a part of our community and give them the thanks for being a part of us. We also want to bless the youth that is within each and every one of us. Recognize that little you that is always speaking out in good and bad ways, right? We want to bless all of that. So together, let's rub our hands together, get the good energy going. I invite you to place it on your heart today and send it out from there. We love you. We bless you. We truly appreciate you. We behold the Christ within you. And so it is. All right. And so I'm going to hand it over to Ellie to give us some good prayer work today as our chaplain.
It's good. So I'm the prayer chaplain today. And no matter what you're going through, our chaplain team wants to pray with you about it. Or you can use the link on our website to contact Silent Unity at Unity Village. Prayer works. So let's do it together now. And as we pray, I want you to include and hold Dan Hilterleiter, Charlotte LaHecca, Brenda Kennedy. Today, let us affirm that these loved ones are whole, perfect, and complete. We're standing with them, knowing that God is already actively working in partnership with each person to grow through the appearance of challenges. Wherever we are, God is together and all is well. As we take a nice deep breath, we say, thank you, Spirit, for the gathering of our hearts. No matter where we are, what we're wearing, we may be in our jammies or slippers right now, or haven't even combed our hair. It doesn't matter. Spirit is with us, no matter who we're with, what place we come from, even if we're in the middle of the snow, sleet, and hail. We remember the monks who are walking 2,300 miles. They have vowed not to let fear, excuses, or circumstances get in the way of their pilgrimage. May we embrace their tenacity and dedication to our path. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Ellie. Now I have the pleasure of introducing our special music for today, Brad and Ezra Reeves. We're blessed yet again with Brad's offspring to join us in the special music today. Brad's first performance was Silent Night, solo in church. Soon after he entered high school, the Beatles were on the Ed Sullivan Show and he started playing guitar. And we're glad he did. Dance bands, soul bands, country bands, folk shows, TV shows, and music degrees added to his musical skills. His songwriting draws on his Carolina roots. He performs and teaches in Greensboro. Brad and Ezra Reeves.
Thank you so much. I'm Ezra. I'm his kid. And we're going to sing another Brad Reeves original. That last song we sang was an original of Brad's. And here's another one. It's one of my favorite to sing. Mom gave me the keys to the car. Said, remember whose girl you are. I tried to hide my eyes and pretend, but she saw right through me. So I summoned up some honesty. Said, I'm headed for the rodeo again. She said, I know he's waiting there for you. I know he says his love is true, but he's chasing a dream he never outgrew. You can't tie a cowboy down. He's a wild horse running around. He's gonna buck if you rope him in. Baby, that's why we call them cowboys instead of cowmen. You can't rope 'em in. Can't rope 'em in. Mom said I seen his type before. One used to ride by my back door, showing off some stallion he couldn't buy. But I never gave him a look. That's all it might have took. I could have been some other lonely cowboy's wife. She said, I know he's waiting there for you. I know he says his love is true, but he's chasing a dream he never outgrew. You can't tie a cowboy down. He's a wild horse running around. He's gonna buck if you rope him in. Baby, that's why they call them cowboys instead of cowmen. You can't rope them in. Can't rope them in. I saw him that night. He promised me his life. Then the next morning he rode out of sight. You can't tie a cowboy down. He's a wild horse running around. He's gonna buck if you rope him in. Baby, that's why they call them cowboys instead of cowmen. You can't rope them in. Can't rope them in. You can't rope them in. Can't rope them in.
That was beautiful. Thank you both. Thank you so much, Ezra and Brad. All right. Thank you. Thank you. And thank you all for being here and joining us in spirit today and all this together and all that's been going on for the last few days. And I think for us here in Eden, it snowed for almost 24 solid hours. And yet I think Greensboro, somebody said they got 10 inches of snow. We got around 7.5 here. So I love it. And I also acknowledge that there are some people that it adds extra challenges to. So we want to take time to acknowledge that and send out love and blessings for them and support for them as well. And so what we're talking about today, it's called Caring Curiosity. What does that mean? I found an article to support some of the work that we're going to do this year, as our annual theme is Beloved Community. And there was an article written by a lady named Allie Levin. And she's a former attorney who is now like a life coach and a coach for executives and leaders and that sort of thing. She wrote an article called Building Meaningful Communities, the Four Pillars of Connections. Well, you know, I love it when you start breaking things down into numbers, because then that gives me, I love a good 12 step, because that gives me something to focus on all 12 months. In this case, we got a quarterly focus. And so in the first quarter, what we're focusing on is what she calls curiosity and care. And I underlined a couple of things that she wrote about that. She says that making community matter requires an investment of time and attention and a commitment to being present. I want to say that again. Making community matter requires an investment of time and attention and a commitment to being present. We're present now, even though we're all in our own houses. I'm sitting in my house completely alone. A lady I was talking to before the snow came in, I said, I don't mind if I'm snowed in for days. And she said, oh, I do not want that. I have small children. And I'm like, I live alone. I'm good. And then I was talking to my brother last night, and he said he was talking to somebody who was looking forward to being snowed in and he said, yeah, well, you've got kids there, you've got stuff. I'm stuck at home completely by myself. And what I saw as like, yay, he saw as like the detractor, that he's stuck there by himself. He doesn't have people to do stuff with and talk with and that sort of thing. So we find those differences in ourselves and we support each other through that. That means that person that is bothered by spending tons of time at home by themselves, They need to hear from us. They need some phone calls. Here's the other trick. We don't know unless you tell us which one you are, right? So, in today's world, a text may do better than a phone call, at least at first. Say, hey, I'm checking in with you. And kind of read it and say, if you want to talk, give me a call or let me know and I'll call you, and check in on people. Let them know that they're seen and heard. Even if it's a phone call, you can still feel seen because you know that someone was thinking about you and seeing you and caring about you in some way. And we all, like, that is a connection that we all want, right? Like, if you think of people who are in prisons today, if they get put into solitary confinement, like, there are laws set around how long you can be in solitary confinement because at some point it's considered unreasonable punishment to separate someone completely by themselves for too long of a time, So as we think about that in just how we live our lives, of that connection, that caring about people, that curiosity of asking questions, not being nosy, just being curious, right? I found for myself quite a few years ago when I was living in Los Angeles, my roommate at the time, her next door neighbor worked, I think he was in sound, but he worked in the film industry. And so he got all the screeners, and in his union got more screeners than the actors union got. So he had everything, and we would ask to borrow some. And one day I was asking him something. We were standing on the back stoop that connected our two apartments. And he said, well, it's right there in the box. And I said, what box? And he pointed and it was almost at my feet, And he said, it's right there. Like, are you blind? And I said, oh, well, I didn't look at that because it's not mine. So it wasn't my business. So like, I didn't have a curiosity about something that wasn't my business. Right. So, at that's kind of the way I approach life often. And as a minister, sometimes people are like, well, you didn't even ask me about blah, blah, blah. I stay on a course, and so that's kind of who I am and how I live. And so when you need something different from me or from whoever your other loved ones are, like, we have to let people know what we need. We have to teach people how we want to be treated and how we're willing to be spoken to, not about, like, they talk about me any way they want to, especially if I'm not there, then it's none of my business again. Um, one of my favorite statements I learned in New Thought, the very first one is, your opinion of me is none of my business. And that became key to me as well, because it changed everything for me. Because as a little gay boy in a small town in the South, I was trying to hide stuff because of the opinions I thought people would have if they knew the truth. As an actor in college, and also still in the closet. So I just, as an actor, you've got to open yourself up to be genuine as another character. It's got to come from your very center. But if you're busy hiding things, you can't get to the center. And then when I'm living in New York City, that's where I finally learned about this New Thought thing. But I'd been working in soap opera, television, and production offices. And I was at the bottom rung. I was trying to climb the rung. I thought in order to climb this rung, that people's opinion of me mattered. And I learned what really mattered was just showing up and doing the work and asking questions. And so when I got to this, and I was like, oh, I can release worrying about what people think about me and just give my very best. And then if they don't like that, look, by the time I met Della Reese, I learned that if they don't like what my very best is, then we're not a match. And that's okay. And the best thing we can do for each other is bless each other on our own paths and not try and force somebody on a path they're not meant to be on. We get there by being curious first about ourselves, so that when you know that you're giving your very best, and if somebody comes and says, well, that's not good enough for me, instead of fighting about it, you can say, Well, that's what I've got to give. If it doesn't match up, I recognize that. I apologize that I'm not the one. I'm not the one. And then we let me bless you as I bless me. We get there by being curious. And you can't bless someone without caring about them, right? So it's that care that matters part, right? So the other thing that I underlined that this Allie Levin said was sometimes just being seen and heard in our communities is all we need to feel connected and to remind ourselves that we belong. This is the antidote to our epidemic of social isolation and loneliness. Like what the pandemic brought for some people was awful for them. Being home on their own was awful. There were students that really had a hard time learning because their learning style worked better in a classroom with other fellow students and a teacher right there to ask the questions to. I saw a video on TikTok before last week's storm, and a guy had a little thing up that said he was an introvert, and he said, "So let me get this straight. This storm that you say is going to be so bad is going to require that I go to my house and then I can't come out and join you anywhere because I'll have to stay home. And you can't come out and come to my home because it's going to be so bad. So you can't come into my home, right?" And they said, "Yeah." And he said, "Okay." Because for the introvert, it's like, that sounds awesome. And while it was awful to other people, look, those differences are what make us wonderful. A good soup is made by joining different ingredients that join together and make the wonderfulness. The one on its own might be okay or might be awful, but when you join it with this other thing, right? Salt, for example. I think salt on its own is just too much. I know other people that will put it in their hand and lick it, right? But salt, when you add it in a cooking, often is the ingredient that brings this other ingredient to life. And so you're not tasting the salt, but it was the salt merging in there that made that other taste pop. That's what we can do for each other. That's being beloved in respecting the differences, honoring the differences, not honoring. It's not that by honoring the difference, I have to change and start being your different. I honor your different while remaining the full true self of myself. And I can stand solidly on my true self because I was first curious about myself and I did the inner work. So when I looked for a biblical example of some of this, of curiosity, Nicodemus came up. Reverend Deli used to call him Old Nicky. Old Nicky. And Nicodemus came to Jesus in the night. Like he came when other people wouldn't see him coming because he was a leader of the Jews. And Jesus was challenging what they had taught. But Nicodemus heard some truth in there. He knew there was some stuff going on, but he didn't want his other fellow Pharisee to know he was curious because he still thought their opinion of him mattered, right? So it says here, let me get to that part, that when he came to Jesus, he said, "Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher who has come from God, for no one could perform the signs you were doing if God were not in him." That means that he had already been curious enough to pay attention, to watch, to see what was going on, to hear what other people were saying. And he knew that it challenged what he already believed to be true. Y'all got any of that going on? Have you turned on any social media, the news, and been challenged of a different truth being presented? Maybe you're being challenged. Look, I think on a political end, I can say this one statement and it's true for everybody, means different things, but the words are true for everybody in, well, I don't trust what they said because that doesn't agree with what I already believe. That's what we're talking about. Challenge yourself. Even if you know that you know what you know, at least be curious to find out why they believe something that you absolutely know is not true. Because you might find another side that the sun is shining on of the truth that we didn't see or already know. That's how, instead of fighting with someone, we can get to a place of togetherness, of that connection. Like, there's something about, and I don't know the answer to this one fully, but when a real tragedy happens, that we all come together in a different way. Right after 9/11, those next 2 or 3 days were the friendliest that I've probably ever known this country to be in my lifetime. You all might be able to point to other examples. There may be some examples that you would point to before I was born. So that's why I say within my lifetime. Have there been other times that people came together? Absolutely. But that's the one that I think of, that this really horrible, scary thing happened. And then right after that, for at least the next 2 to 3 days, really for some for a week or for a month, that'd be stretching it a month, right? But for that time, like, people who had never spoken to each other before, we're speaking. We're looking for ways to help. We're checking to see if blood banks needed help. We're checking to see if somebody needed some extra money to help support their family, right? There were all these things going on, and then we separated back off. It's that checking in on people and being willing to see humanity, being willing to look, I think when I was talking to a group in Myrtle Beach, they do a thing called connecting the dots after the service. And when I was talking to them last Sunday, I forget how it brought up exactly, but like Hitler came up as the easiest example, because everybody can agree that what happened with Hitler was bad and shouldn't have happened, and humanity shouldn't have allowed that to happen. And yet, the best way you can learn from that example is to find out in the humanity of him why he thought it was okay. Like, as an actor, if I play a bad guy, frankly, those are the more fun parts to play. They're more fun to play because they're complex, because you can't just be bad. You've got to find out why the bad guy thinks what they're doing and saying is the right thing to do and say. There's a reason for it. That comes from the humanity. That comes from the, I'm doing this because I loved my mother, and this person wronged my mother, and I'm off the Hitler thing. Obviously, I don't know who Hitler's mother was, but it's to say that there's a heart to everything that we would call a bad act that ever happened in history. There was a connection to the heart for the person who did it. And that doesn't make it good. It doesn't make it right, but it helps us understand them so that we can change that path and break that cycle. Because we can look back. If you use retrospect as a way of looking back in history, you can find that there were signs of, oh, this thing's about to happen again. What can we do differently? We can ask questions is what we can do. We can find out who we are and why we tick. Not just that we tick. I know everybody's ticking. If you wasn't ticking, that means your heart's not going and you're out of here. And now you're back to energy and you're out of this whole human part that's, constraining. But, so it's asking the questions. It's learning people. And I go back to, you can't possibly be curious enough about someone else until you've been curious about yourself. And you've asked yourself, why do I think that? Why am I connected to that? I don't recommend staying in that world for too long. It's better to be in the now. But it's great to use retrospect, not to beat ourselves up, but to find out maybe a little something extra. So when I look at Nicodemus, metaphysically, Nicodemus, it says, is the popular idea of religion dominant in the consciousness. That his name meant victorious among the people, victor over the people, victory of the people. Now, if we're looking from a literal stance, that's often the person we don't care for too much. But we're talking about our own consciousness, about this conscious trait that we have that is like, I'm the ruler over what I'm going to choose from my mind to act out and live out and use as one of my rules of what works for me. And what works for Nicodemus, for the Nicodemus in you, in your consciousness, this piece of you, is that Nicodemus was on to the scripture, was on to the letter of the law, but was open to listening for a possible higher truth. So there was the letter of the law that keeps us safe, right? If you're driving, the letter of the law really matters when you come to a stoplight. Because if yours is red, it means somebody else's is green and it's not your turn. And if you go ahead and take your turn anyway, you might cause a wreck, right? But that's the letter of the law. But what your Nicodemus allows in that is if you come up to it and it's flashing red because there's a problem, that you can look around and you can see, okay, my light's red, but nobody's coming the other way, so it's safe for me to go, right? It's like, I'm going to break this letter of the law because there's something different going on, and I'm going to look for a higher truth in this matter. I like to go to the meaningless examples of a stoplight or a stop sign, but it works in what you think is going on in your world, what you see as right, what you see as wrong, right? Right now, in a little town like this, maybe in the bigger cities like Greensboro too, but there are some people that are cheering on our city workers who are plowing the streets because they're at least getting some of the snow and the ice out of the way. And then there are other people on Facebook complaining about the mound that they created in front of their driveway instead of being thankful that the road got cleared. There is their work to do and there is our work to do. But when we sit around saying, well, their work made my work harder, they did the work that they had to do. Let's honor that. Let's be grateful and let's look for what is ours to do rather than pointing at, well, but them, right? And yet you've got to know where your truth is in it. That's where the care comes in. I don't think I have to dig that deep in the care, but there was a story in Matthew 25 verses 36 through 41 where Jesus was talking to people and said that people are split into the groups of the helpers and the non-helpers, basically, right? And that for the people who have been the helpers, that they're going to be blessed. Now, when people look at this in a literal way, they are like, oh, so if I didn't do, exactly the way you want, you're damning me to hell. But we're looking at this metaphysically. We're talking about how do we get to our blessings, meaning how do we get to our good feelings where we're connected, and when we feel disconnected and when we feel like disconnected from the other people, where we can go in and be curious and then be caring for ourselves is like, how does this work? So in this story, paraphrasing, Jesus said, you blessed me, so I'm blessing you. And it says that those people are like, wait, but this is the first time I'm seeing you. So how did I bless you? And Jesus said, whatever you did for the one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. When you cared for the ones who needed the care the most, you cared for all. And then the same thing when he says, yep, you all are damned, and they're like, wait, I didn't do anything bad to you. I've never even seen you before now. And he says, whatever you did not do for the least of these, you did not do for me. And so again, like if you look at that in a literal way, it sounds like a punishment versus a trophy, right? But what we're talking about when we really look at this, we're looking at our own consciousness. We're looking at how we use our spirit out into our life and our world and our affairs. And when we help the ones who need the help the most, we are helping everyone. And when we ignore the ones who need the help the most, we are ignoring the very heart of everyone. And so that's where our love and our care comes in, and our finding our way to build beloved community and be beloved community. See, those are two different things. The building of it happens, and then we maintain and we just be that. We ask questions about people. We check in on people. It doesn't have to be some giant thing. You don't have to make a 5-course meal. You can send a text and say, hey, I'm thinking about you. I just wanted to check in. And then if they come back and say, oh, thanks, I've been here all day. The people who were supposed to bring me dinner didn't. And now you might have to look at, well, let me see if I can get a meal in. Or the other day, my next door neighbor, I don't even know his name, honestly. I've lived next door to him for almost 8 years. I wave at him. He told me his name. I told him my name about 8 years ago. And since then, we waved at each other. So I forgot the name. but I always wave at him and I speak to him when I see him. His car got caught on the ice and slid into the ditch in the yard across the street from both of us. Now, if you're watching this, you probably know me well enough to know I do not have the skills to get a car out of a ditch. I don't have a vehicle to get a car out of a ditch. I don't have the knowledge of how to get a car out of a ditch. But he was out there by himself, and I walked over, fell down twice getting there myself. And I said, I don't know that I can do much to help you, but I just didn't want you to be out here by yourself. And he got it. I would hold he had a shovel to break up the ice to try and get his wheels going. Well, one wheel would spin or the other wheel would spin, but he didn't know what wheel was spinning. By me standing out in the road holding his shovel, I could point and say, it's this back wheel that's spinning. And then we worked on it. Now, at the end of what we did together, his car remained in the ditch. I don't have a hero story to tell you that I walked over there and got his car out of the ditch. But when I said, well, if you think of something else to try and you need some help, I'm going to be in the house, come holler, and I don't know that I can do much, but I will come and help. And he said, you've been plenty of help. At least I wasn't here alone. And an hour and a half later, I opened my door to look at something else, and his car was in his driveway. I still don't know how it got there, but something we did had to help in some way. It at least caused him to go in and talk to someone else. And when he told them what we had done, mostly what he had done, I'm adding myself in because I was standing there, right? That at least opened up a door to, oh, well, we can go do this or we can try this, because what we had done didn't work. But the we happened first. So it's being curious and also being honest. I didn't go over there and be like, here, let me help you do this because I'm a pro at this. I'm like, I can't do much more than try and keep myself standing upright. You done saw me fall, right? But I'm willing to show up. And that's what we're called to do ourselves, is to show up physically or spiritually, sending love to people that we will never meet on the other side of the planet. That is showing up, just sending the love, just acknowledging. That is also building beloved community. It doesn't have to just be with the people who show up in our church. It's helping our local community. It's helping the world. And you are the world. We are the world. I love you. I bless you. I behold the Christ that absolutely is you. And I thank you for listening to this message and being a part of this recording and in all the ways, just by showing up. So now is our time to give our love offerings and our tithes. And we're going to send the virtual bag around, which is, you're all on the website. Unless you're watching this on YouTube, I'll tell you to go to the website and click the give button. You can mail too. We still take old-fashioned mail. I don't think we've checked it in the last week and a half because there's been so much going on, but it'll still cash when we get there, right? So I thank you for financially supporting in whatever way you're able to, at whatever level you're able to, because us collectively keep this work going. And this is important work that helps our community, that helps our world. And so I thank you for being a part of that. And so I invite you to click the button, and I'm not going to sing the whole song, but I'll just say, thank you, God, for everything. That's it. Thank you, God, for everything and for everyone, especially you. And I'm going to turn it over to Maria for some announcements. Oh, yes, I should do this. Chris has to help me on this. Look, see, I do my own blessing, then I forget we have a scripted one too. So let us say this together. And again, I invite you, if you can and are able and you want to say this out loud and not just read the words, but find the meaning in the words for yourself. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And I am grateful. Now I'll turn it over to Maria for some good announcements.
Thank you, Wally. I was going to read that if you didn't. So, if you are watching us virtually for the first time, I invite you to drop us an email at info at unityingreensboro.org so that we can stay in touch with you and keep you abreast of all of the exciting events that we have coming up. And we appreciate you being here. Come join us Sunday, February 8th at 6 p.m. for the Super Bowl. If you're not a football fan, bring your favorite game and just join in the fun. Bring a snack to share, your favorite snack to share. We'll be making this a fundraiser for the Growth Fund. Donations are accepted if you don't make it, but please consider joining us and bring all your friends and family. Linda Dunn is going to be offering You've Got That Love and Feeling. February is the month of love that we usually talk about love. How do we show our love for each other and how do we share our feelings? Most of us have a very small feeling vocabulary. How do we share our feelings with one another and why are feelings so important? Expressing our feelings without attacking each other leads us to needs that are not being met in a relationship. Learn how to identify our feelings and express them in ways that lead to positive change and address the unmet needs. This will be offered again by Linda Dunn, Sunday, February 15th, in person after the service in the training room. Suggested love offering is $5, and registration so that Linda can get all of her anything that supplies that she needs for this class. Please register by February 11th. Frederick Kester, a licensed Unity teacher, is offering part 2 of Listen, Listen, Listen to My Heart Song. That's going to be February 22nd at 11:30. Explore how we consciously or unconsciously leave our listening from the heart. This is mostly a habits that can be changed. We will discuss the 6 or so ways the class discovered their habits of not listening while doing their homework. This is a review of the first class and includes a discussion of homework, but it is also open to new attendees. So if you weren't able to make the first class, please consider joining in the second. Let our chaplains pray with you after service for whatever you may be growing through. You can send an email to info@unityingreensboro.org and one of our chaplains will contact you. Now we have special music again by Brad and Ezra Reeves. Take it away.
Here we go. We're just getting our pitch. These are praying times, folks. So we chose this song for that reason. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, sisters, let's go down, won't you come on down? Oh, sisters, let's go down, down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the robe and crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, brothers, let's go down, won't you come on down? Oh, brothers, let's go down, down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear the starry crown? Good Lord, show me the way. Oh, mothers, let's go down, won't you come on down? Oh, mothers, let's go down, down in the river to pray. As I went down in the river to pray, studying about that good old way, and who shall wear glory crown, good Lord, show me the way. Oh, fathers, let's go down, won't you come on down? Oh, fathers, let's go down, down in the river to pray, down in the river to pray. Thank you.
Ah, thank you, thank you, thank you. That was incredible. And I'll tell you, Brad and Ezra, you couldn't possibly know this, but 2 weeks ago in Greensboro, I did just the first chorus of that as part of my lesson on prayer. And last Sunday in Myrtle Beach, I did the lesson on prayer again. So I did that first verse again. So this is my third Sunday in a row with this song. And I take that as this great connection of this great reminder that that is the thing that we can do the most. And metaphysically, going down in the river, not to the river, in the river, is going down into that stream of consciousness and being like, let me get myself connected. Look, I don't care whether you look out and you love this or you hate this. That is me and my brother. I love it. He hates the snow. But that's okay. We get to July 4th and he wants to sit on the beach at noon. He loves it. I hate it, right? So there's that perspective. But it's whichever one you're on. If you either want to stay in the love or you want to get to some love, you want to get in the river, you want to get in your stream of consciousness, and you want to find that Christ consciousness, not some outside thing, but you want to find the very best part of yourself. You want to bring all the thoughts, the little ones, the brothers and the sisters, the mature ones, the fathers and the mothers, all those thoughts of yours together for the highest good. And you do that by just praying. You can pray out loud. You can pray standing up, sitting up on your knees, whatever works for you. Do that as we go into this next week. This next week's it's gonna take them a few days to probably clear stuff out. That's good. I got soup. I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna enjoy it from here. Find your joy where it is. And if you need to talk to somebody, I'm sitting here. You can call me. The cell phone's usually pretty close by. So I love you and I bless you. Next week, we're planning to be in person. And I think that we will, right? And so that's going to allow us to be together for the lesson, which will be the Song of the Soul. We're going to look at how music supports our spiritual work. And Amy and Tao will be with us in person to bring some of that music. And then, of course, later on, there'll be a Super Bowl watching and celebrating together going on there too. That's all next Sunday. So please come and join us for all of that. And let us, Lord, I don't know that we can do the peace song. I didn't think about printing the lyrics out. Do you have the lyrics, Chris, for that? If the lyrics are up, I'll sing it a cappella, but without the lyrics, I just can't promise that I know it.
Yes, we got them.
Oh, Lord, here we go. I said I would do it, so now I gotta. All right, let's sing together. Sing out loud if I'm going to do this. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. This is not a good key, but we're going to go. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. And together let us affirm the light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, love is, peace is, light is, God is, and all is well. Have a beautiful, beautiful day and week together, and we'll see you next Sunday. Love and blessings to everybody.